Well, I mean, Trump himself is very bullish on energy. He campaigned on energy dominance. I mean, he's definitely a Texas, Wyoming, carbon fuels, natural gas, and he'd love to get coal in the mix too if he could. On the other hand, the Harris ticket carried 19 states, and I think the red-blue distinction between red Republican and blue Democrat is as strong as ever. The election was 51-48 in the popular vote. It was not exactly a landslide. The 48% haven't gone anywhere, and their ideas on energy and climate change haven't changed. And so I think we're going to see a genuine standoff, rumble. Now, again, it could either be just a conflict of, some people want to fight climate change, other people don't, or they could see the harmony of, hey, all of us blue states like in California and Washington State want to deal with, want to run AI, and we need energy for that. And as Germany proves, you can't run a modern economy on solar panels and windmills, and so there's actually the potential, at least, for an incredibly fruitful conciliation where red energy provides the go power for blue AI. We'll see if they can pull that off politically. I think they need a clear vision that the old model of we are going to deal with climate change by transitioning away from carbon fuels just is not going to happen. China never agreed to it. India never agreed to it. The rest of the world never. Indonesia, which is an enormous country, never agreed to it. I mean, they did in theory on this. That we'll see it just today as we're talking is the first day of the COP29 conference, in Baku, Azerbaijan, and the idea that they're having a climate change conference in a petro state is kind of, humorous almost. So if you accept that the model of, quote, leave it in the ground is just not going to work, it's just the country, including America, is not going to agree to it. If your entire model of fighting climate change is based on the Netherlands and Germany, you're on pretty thin ice. So if you come to a realization, actually, we need some kind of new compromise. We still worry about CO2 in the atmosphere, but we're not going to get there by leaving the ground. We're going to have to look towards carbon capture, creating a circular carbon economy. I think that offers the satisfaction of not only dealing with climate change, but also not unemploying Texas and Oklahoma, which they've proven they will not tolerate. One thing President Trump doesn't seem to worry very much about is deficit spending, and that's just the way businessmen and real estate moguls operate. They never worry about debt. He said, "I'm the king of debt" in the past, and so I don't think the spending issue bothers him. I think, in addition, So the money in the Inflation Reduction Act, for example, will probably stay as is. It will not get repealed. In addition, Governor Newsom of California has said we are going to, quote, Trump-proof California with green energy. And part of the package is green energy. And if he means that, I mean, California has enough, it's the fourth or fifth largest economy in the world. They can afford to do a lot of energy stuff on their own, just with their own resources and revenues. And I wouldn't be surprised if, California, for example, says, we have a wonderful chance now to be a leader for the world on green energy, and we're always, one physics breakthrough away from some new, quantum breakthrough on solar panels or energy batteries or something. And I think that actually there's sort of a chapter in the book called Schismogenesis, where the act of splitting energizes both sides in a fight. So you can see how, California says, look, we're clearly antagonistic to Trump and all that stuff. We're going to have to do better here in California, and that'll inspire, Caltech and Stanford places like that to study energy in new ways. And that has the promise of sort of a win-win, where the red states get their way with carbon energy and the blue states get their way with solar. And we'll see, 10, 20, 50 years from now, who's got the better of the argument. The biggest thing, and Trump talked about this, is, do we use the mineral resource wealth that we have? And so back at his convention speech in Milwaukee in July, he said, we have, quote, liquid gold. And if you do the math, according to the Institute for Energy Research in Houston, the total value of oil and gas, not including coal, is 336 trillion. Trillion. That's 10 times the GDP, 10 times the national debt, and it's obviously not easy to get to. But what Trump and Elon Musk and all these sort of entrepreneurs and Mark Andreessen and David Sachs and so on, all these investors have so kind of moved the Overton window about what's possible here. We don't have to just listen to Paul Ehrlich and the Malthusians on these issues. We can think big and globally and cosmically and go to along the way of going to Mars and whatever else they can think of, some new fracking technique or something. And for another one, the deepest oil well in the world is about 5 miles. Okay, it's 1,800 miles to the Earth's core. So there's a lot more territory physically below us to dig into if we get it, and I think we'll probably find just as much oil and lithium and uranium and whatever below. It's obviously a lot of technical breakthroughs, which is kind of what America does, right? We invent things, and it's good for investors too if you simply say, I've got some better mousetrap that the world wants to beat a path to. So I think that will, now we're getting at issues of permitting and whatever allocations and tax credits and spending or appropriations for R&D and so on. That'll be a fruitful discussion, and it is possible to imagine that being a win-win.